got a girl on Earth, and he's bagging chicks, on the other world, of course. I'm like, why not, But and she's like jealous. She's like, "Yeah, where do you go on the weekends? You're always gone. I want to spend time with you." I'm like, well, I got plans, and it's like, yeah, because this is the drug for him. It's a power. People dig power. Some people, they love it. They relish it. What would you do if you had power? If you were given power, and that's why society exists in feudal, or like existed in feudal and still exists in kind of feudal systems even today in certain places of the world. It's like, yeah, if you got power, but what you do is you really enhance or put into that, you put with that power certain ideas and certain obligations and realities. So in some of my later books, I'm going to be doing, I realize now this is what I'm going to write about, is stuff, is like basically, well, how would people form into a feudal society? How would they form into a Roman society? How could they form into like a democratic society? Or an autocratic society, or like even how would they settle into a sort of rule by an oligarchy that is accepted? And that's like one thing I got into, and that was you had a class of people who could rule over you, but they were like both the economic and the military, and even in some ways just organizational. Leaders of communities, but the way you have it is that, well, the community would kind of vote the guy into office. The guy would be ride around on a horse, say, "Do you guys need a politician?" And they would like decide, well, what about this guy? What's this guy's reputation? And or the community could even invite the guy in. So you could imagine that in some cases, people would raise petitions to say, we want this politician to be the overlord of this community, this province. So you have like little land barons of counties, and then provinces of several counties together. So you could have a Duke of Baron. I got a whole thing on ranks, which I'm going to have to I realize I'm probably going to have to publish as well, because it's basically, I think I'm going to, for all my books, or most of my books anyways, I'm going to follow a certain pattern, and so that way people can identify with me, because there's going to be a lot of names that could get thrown around, and I'd rather that, because in a way, I'm thinking that I'm communicating a historical aspect, something that, I pay attention to a lot of history. So how would historically people function in a certain way? So why are, there are all these mercenary forces you hear about in the Italian Peninsula during the Renaissance. And so why? What was the point of these mercenary forces? And I'm playing this game, and mercenary forces are available here and there. And I'm just like, so who are mercenaries? Well, mercenaries were like an army that was raised and then was disbanded, and these guys just stuck together as an armed force and they roamed around because they had a charismatic leader who kept them together as a team. So that's why I created this guy Jim in this world for Adrena, and he got these kids, and it's like, you know what? I want to rule the world. And he's got his buddy Matt. What does Matt want? Matt says, I want to be the best fighter ever. It's like, either I want to, earn, eventually he's going to get to the point like, well, I want to earn a legend, a name for myself. I want to be remembered for something. And that's something I have to get into as well. So I'm glad I'm discussing it. But, and then Josh is like, well, I want to learn magic. I want to become like, this is a really good, handy magician. So a lot of so you can see a bit of interaction, and I think it's going to work out in that you see that these three guys realize by working together they're going to achieve their ends. They're going to achieve those goals because together they can handle anything that comes up to them. But ideally, the guy Jim knows how to get them to a certain position, a certain point. And that is like a point of power, a point of like either access to power, part of the establishment, or they're kind of thinking that, well, maybe they're kind of skirting around this idea of becoming part of the establishment, but they're definitely like, well, we're just going to take over this spot of land, and we'll establish an economy there, and we'll see if we can somehow or other get involved into this economy, because we know this technology. So can we produce? Can we create? And can we um, economically enter in, and receive a bonus as well, because we're bringing this higher end technology and we're going to keep it, to ourselves hidden. And that's going to come in later on if the story continues, because eventually these guys are going to go from a mercenary band to they're going to rule a land. I'm still kind of trying to figure out, like, well, how basically the politics. So that's something else to realize about my writing, is that my writing is going to be like Conan the Barbarian with the West Wing injected into it. Or so I should say more like, a bit more like Rome even, but imagine more primitive. There's this whole saga series that I came up with back in college, my freshman year, because we're studying like the Mongols, people of Mongolia, and these tribal people and other people in Europe. And it's kind of, in anthropology, it's like, yeah, how would you live in this, society? Like, so what I'm thinking, or what I'm going to, do is just write this thing. I'm like, well, take some people in this, whatever kind of environment, and then feudal type system of government, remove them, inject them into a community that's the Mongols, basically, and give them a charismatic, bloodthirsty leader, even. So that's something key, as well, is that the lead characters, they're not good or bad guys. They're normal. They have their yeses and nos, and they have their thirst, their lust, and some of them are just decent, and some of them are going to be not so decent. So that's going to be hard, though, to write about those guys, because what I want, I mean, it's bad enough writing battle scenes where all right, I get a little sick of it. You know what? I'm glad I'm not a serial killer, because, oh man, to think about killing people all day long, ugh. Now imagine writing it. I can't handle seeing animated pornography, because it's just like some guy basically created a nipple, or created a female sexual organ, or even a male sexual organ. It's like, why would, I don't want to see it, why would a guy draw it, or it's like, a guy drew this, and it's like, it just seems weird, odd to me, but, I don't know, then again, I don't really exactly like writing about sex, so I can do it, I've done it, but, anyways, probably, like I said, just allude to sex, and when it becomes a TV show, I just think it'd be a neat TV show, too, so that's another reason. I think it'd be cool, just this idea that, have some high school kids who, well, they kind of want to be the bad boys, but it's not really the bad boys. It's more like the Lost Boys, and it's more like Roar, and it's more like, they're a gang. They're a gang that wants to take over. They want to fight. They're willing to kill people for it, but they don't do it on Earth. They go to another world, And as the story continues, what I can do later on is that, well, these guys they're going to basically, I was trying to think about how would this story continue. What would, Jim and these guys do after they graduated high school? Like, well, they should go to college. Why not? They have access to wealth, but what they do, though, or part of how they do it is, by the time they get out of high school, it's 1996. So it follows me. And that's when they're going to get into the internet. Or actually, they were already in the internet. Sorry, but they're going to get into Wall Street and stock brokerage, and so they'll be able to make some money that way. And like I said, it's just computers. That's all it is. They just use a computer and they set up programs. That's figuring, why not? We'll do it. But also remember they can read minds, and they can see what people see. They can plant an orb on somebody and just, literally watch what that guy watches. And then record it, fast forward, and play it back. So you can imagine, in some guy's mind, it's like imagine you were no longer seen from your eyes, but you're seen from a kind of recessed vision of your eyes. And, or like it's just something that was glossing over your irises of a magical field, and on it was being projected images. And so, like a desktop of a computer, you could have, and like Windows Live TV, whatever, you have streaming video of different things going on, and it's in your consciousness, it's in your awareness. But now, it's kind of hard for me to write about it, but in my mind, the way